living in the north of Sydney and speaking the Kamilaroi language are best known under this aspect through the capital work of Lorimer Fison and A.W. Howitt, Kamilaroi and Konai, Melbourne 1880. See also A.W. Howitt's further note on the Australian class systems in Journal of the Anthropological Institute, 1889, volume 18th, page 31, showing the wide extension of the same organization in Australia. Close footnote. The territory they inhabit is usually allotted between the different gens or clans, but the hunting and fishing territories of each clan are kept in common, and the produce of fishing and hunting belongs to the whole clan, so also the fishing and hunting implements. Open footnote. The folklore, manners, etc. of Australian Aborigines, Adelaide, 1879, page 11. Close footnote. The meals are taken in common. Like many other savages, they respect certain regulations as to the seasons when certain gums and grasses may be collected. One footnote. Gray's Journals of Two Expeditions of Discovery in Northwest and Western Australia, London, 1841, volume 2, pages 237-298. Close footnote. As to their morality altogether, we cannot do better than transcribe the following answers given to the questions of the Paris Anthropological Society by Lumholtz, a missionary who sojourned in North Queensland. Open footnote. Bulletin de la Société d'Anthropologie, 1888, volume 11th, page 652. I abridge the answers. Close footnote. The feeling of friendship is known among them. It is strong. Weak people are usually supported. Sick people are very well attended to. They never are abandoned or killed. These tribes are cannibals, but they very seldom eat members of their own tribe. Open bracket. When immolated on religious principles, I suppose. Close bracket. They eat strangers only. The parents love their children, play with them and pet them. Infanticide meets with common approval. All people are very well treated, never put to death. No religion, no idols, only a fear of death. Polygamous marriage. Quarrels arising within the tribe are settled by means of duels fought with wooden swords and shields. No slaves, no culture of any kind, no pottery, no dress, save an apron sometimes worn by women. The clan consists of 200 individuals, divided into 4 classes of men and 4 of women, marriage being only permitted within the usual classes and never within the gens. For the Papuas, closely akin to the above, we have the testimony of G.L. Bink, who stayed in New Guinea, chiefly in Gilwing Bay, from 1871 to 1883. Here is the essence of his answers to the same questioner. Open footnote. Bulletin de la Société d'Anthropologie, 1888, volume 11th, page 386. Close footnote. They are sociable and cheerful. They loaf very much, rather timid than courageous. Friendship is relatively strong among persons belonging to different tribes, and still stronger within the tribe. A friend will often pay the debt of his friend, the stipulation being that the latter would repay it without interest to the children of the lender. They take care of the ill and the old. All people are never abandoned, and in no case are they killed, unless it be a slave who was ill for a long time. War prisoners are sometimes eaten. The children are very much petted and loved. Old and feeble war prisoners are killed, the others are sold as slaves. They have no religion, no gods, no idols, no authority of any description. The oldest man in the family is the judge. In cases of adultery, a fine is paid, and part of it goes to the Negoria, (the community). The soil is kept in common, but the crop belongs to those who have grown it. They have pottery and no barter trade, the custom being that the merchant gives them the goods, whereupon they return to their houses and bring the native goods required by the merchant. If the latter cannot be obtained, the European goods are returned. Open footnote. The same is the practice with the Papuas of Kaimani Bay, who have a high reputation of honesty. It never happens that the Papua be untrue to his promise. Finch says in Neguinea un Sene Behonea, Bremen, 1865, page 829. Close footnote. They are head hunters, and in so doing they prosecute blood revenge. Sometimes, Finch says, the affair is referred to the Raja of Namotat, who terminates it by imposing a fine. When well treated, the Papuas are very kind. Mikluko Makle landed on the eastern coast of New Guinea, followed by one single man, stayed for 2 years among tribes reported to be cannibals, and left them with regret. He returned again to stay 1 year more among them, and never had he any conflict to complain of. True that his rule was never under no pretext whatever, to say anything which was not truth, nor make any promise which he could not keep. These poor creatures, who even do not know how to obtain fire and carefully maintain it in their huts, live under their primitive communism without any chiefs, and within their villages they have no quarrels worth speaking of. They work in common just enough to get the food of the day, they rear their children in common, and in the evenings they dress themselves as coquettishly as they can and dance. Like all savages, they are fond of dancing. Each village has its bola or balai, the long house, long maison or grande maison, for the unmarried men, for social gatherings, and for the discussion of common affairs, again a trait which is common to most inhabitants of the Pacific Islands, the Eskimos, the Red Indians, and so on. Whole groups of villagers are on friendly terms, and visit each other en bloc. Unhappily, floods are not uncommon, not in consequence of overstocking of the area or keen competition and like inventions of a mercantile century, but chiefly in consequence of superstition. As soon as anyone falls ill, his friends and relatives come together and deliberately discuss who might be the cause of the illness. All possible enemies are considered, everyone confesses of his own petty quarrels, and finally the real cause is discovered. An enemy from the next village has called it down, and a raid upon that village is decided upon. Therefore floods are rather frequent, even between the coast villages, not to say a word of the cannibal mountaineers, who are considered as real creatures and enemies, though on a closer acquaintance they prove to be exactly the same sort of people as their neighbors on the sea-coast. Is Vestia of the Russian Geographical Society, 1880, pages 161, sequence. Few books of travel give a better insight into the petty details of the daily life of savages than these scraps from Macley's notebooks. End of the first part of chapter 3. Recording by Enko. If you would like to send me an email, you can reach me at enkobilal@yahoo.com. That's ENKOBILAL @yahoo.com.